We are closing soon and restructuring after these events. Now, because of one man's poor judgment, the entire business is paying the price. Hey loves, so in my last video I shared a story of an influencer who was mocked by a restaurant owner despite being invited to collaborate with the restaurant to review their food. But when she showed up, she was publicly belittled by the owner, all because of her following count. The story went viral, and as at the time I filmed that video, there had been no apology from the restaurant owner. If you haven't seen that video yet, please feel free to pause this video and catch up so that you're fully up to speed. Not only has the restaurant spoken out, the owner himself has also issued a statement, and even his daughter has made an apology video. I mentioned her in my last video as her father did reference her whilst he was belittling the influencer. But now that she's publicly posted her own response, we're going to look into every single one of these updates and break them down together. Let's get into it. Firstly, let's take a look at Kids Cafe, who issued a statement on their Instagram page. So it says, statement from the KISS team. Our chef's behavior was unacceptable and he is no longer part of the team as a co-owner, a chef, or in any other way. As of this post, Luke has reached out to the creator with a personal apology. That behavior does not reflect the remainder of our team. We want to create a space that's welcoming and respectful to everyone. In this instance, we failed to do so. We are closing soon and restructuring after these events. In the meantime, we hope to still be able to sustain the livelihoods of our team members and their families. Lastly, we understand the frustration and anger, but please do not use this lapse in our values as an opportunity to foment racism and hate speech towards us and our loved ones. Sincerely, the KISS team. At the bottom of that, it says, just wanted to clarify, Luke did not get fired from the team. He left of his own accord. I respected his decision and I'm doing what I can to support my team. So he wasn't fired, he left on his own accord. Right, let's just unpack that. So as we've just seen, they said that they are closing and they are restructuring. And you can see on their Instagram, it says right there at the top, permanently closed. And all this is as a result of everything that happened. And honestly, this is very sad because it shows how the action of one employee or one owner can affect a whole business. When you're part of a company, your behavior reflects on that brand. While you're on the clock, you're representing that business. And it's crucial to act professionally and with integrity. Now, because of one man's poor judgment, the entire business is paying the price. The shutting down operation, I'm imagining they're probably going to rebrand, open under another name, maybe a new location, who knows, change things up. All because of an incident that could have been avoided. In their statement, they also said that we hope to still be able to sustain the livelihoods of our team members and their families. Which tells me that whilst the doors are closed for business and money isn't coming in, they're still trying to do right by their staff. And that's no small thing. That's expensive. That's a cost that they did not anticipate or budget for, which is just unfortunate. But again, the ripple effect is so telling. This isn't just about him or his co-owners. His actions have impacted everyone, the staff, the waiters, the kitchen crew, the cleaners, and by extension, their families. Real people with bills, responsibilities, and lives that have now been disrupted, all because of this incident that could have been avoided. It's really heartbreaking because it goes to prove that one man's arrogance can just create a storm that others have to weather. And that's why accountability matters. They ended their post by saying that please do not use this lapse in our values as an opportunity to foment racism and hate speech towards us and our loved ones. And I absolutely agree with that. We need to stay focused on the real issue, which is calling out unacceptable behavior and holding people accountable. You can't fight injustice by responding with more injustice. You don't correct a wrong with more wrong. Yes, let's call it out. Yes, let's address it. But we must do it with integrity and not with hate. We can all stand for what's right without losing who we are in the process. As I mentioned in my previous video, Luke Song's daughter had left a comment on Carla's page where she essentially apologized for everything that had happened. I'll have that comment here on screen. Shortly after Kiss Cafe issued their apology on Instagram, she went a step further and posted a video of her own, addressing the situation directly. Take a look. And guys, if you're still here, please hit the subscribe button and join this wonderful community. Let's get back into it.
Hi, I'm not the most well-spoken, so I'm reading off what might come out a little messy, but I just wanted to say something and not fumble my words. In light of everything that's been happening, I just want to say that I still stand by what I said in my comment in Carla's video and that I support her. What happened to her was not okay, and within hours, as soon as I saw the video, I knew exactly who it was about. I called my dad, his business partner, and I reached out to her immediately after she shared it to have him apologize in person because nobody deserves to be treated that way, and I wanted her to know that she has my support. I know I wasn't the one who said those things, but hearing him use me as his daughter to belittle another person, a creator or not, was a complete shock to me and was unacceptable. As a daughter of immigrant parents, I've spent my whole life navigating these dynamics, trying to educate him on regulating his emotions and words, which doesn't excuse anything, but this isn't the first time I felt hurt by his actions and how he has treated people. When it's to me and to people in my household, we know how to handle it, but it's not acceptable to treat anybody the same way or in public. If any of you can relate to this feeling of having parents who cannot control their emotions, you might understand this feeling, but it's not an excuse. And though I love my family, this was, again, not okay. I don't condone how he spoke to her, and I don't share the values of speaking down to anyone, especially not another AAPI creator. And even if she weren't a creator or Asian American, it still would not have been okay. I know Carla's intentions were genuine, and if she doesn't want to hear from me, I fully understand that. I want to give her space. But please know that I am not the restaurant, I am not my father, and his actions don't represent me. And just like many of you who may not have always agreed with your parents, I definitely do not always agree with mine. This was definitely a necessary wake-up call for him and a learning experience that I know he is taking very seriously. The restaurant has issued a public statement and apology, and my father has also reached out directly, but again, the most important thing is that she should have been treated with respect. I'm not asking for empathy or for grace, but thank you for listening.
That was such a lovely and heartfelt response from Issa. Honestly, it's such a shame that she was dragged into this situation, a mess that was created by her father. It's unfortunate that as his child, she's the one that's having to step up and speak out for what's right. Parents should be the ones instilling those values, teaching their children not to speak down on others, not to look down on people because of their status or their following count. They should be the one modeling kindness and humility. Instead, we're seeing the roles reversed. It's Issa, his daughter, who is showing maturity, empathy, and accountability. She clearly stated that she doesn't share values of looking down on anyone, and that in itself speaks volumes. It's powerful, and it's also sad that it's the youngest person in this situation who recognizes what her father should have known all along. The comments under her video reflected that too. She was widely commended for how she responded. Let's take a look at a couple of comments. One says, when the daughter is parenting the parent. Someone else says, the sad part is that you shouldn't have to know how to handle it. Someone says, I've met Issa in real life and she's the sweetest person. So proud of her responding and supporting Carla. And of course, Luke Song has now responded. His statement has been posted on Kiss Cafe's Instagram page. And they've put a note there that because he doesn't have his own personal Instagram, they have put it there on his behalf. However, they made it clear that he's not a member of the team anymore. Let's take a look at his comments. It says, hi everyone, I'm Luke Song, previous chef of Kiss Cafe. It was important for me to first apologize to Carla privately and step away from Kiss Cafe before publicly apologizing. Carla, I am truly sorry for my actions towards you. I was condescending, hurtful, and intimidating. You did not deserve to be made to feel less than or unimportant. Nobody does. Regardless, I thank you for teaching me a valuable lesson in kindness and respect. There are no excuses to be made, I've decided it's time for me to step away from Kiss Cafe permanently in all capacities. I also want to be clear, the responsibility of this whole situation is mine alone. My behavior should not be a reflection on anyone else who works there or anyone who is related to me. I truly care about my staff and I'm devastated that my actions have impacted both them and their families. You see what I was saying earlier? Actions of one man has impacted several others. I have worked with many of the employees at the restaurant for years and they're incredible people who don't deserve to suffer due to my behavior. Finally, the last person I want to apologize to is my daughter Isabel. I am sorry I put you in this position and I'm ashamed that you had to be the one to own up for my mistake. All I've ever wanted to do is give you the opportunity to create a better life for yourself than the one I grew up with, and I've failed you in the worst way. I came to this country to give all of my kids the best chance to work hard towards their goals, and now I've given the public nothing but a reason to tear them down for my actions. I am sorry for disrespecting all of your efforts and hard work to build your careers. To Carla, my kids, and everyone else in the hospitality industry, I hope you will accept my apology and thank you for taking the time to listen to me. Sincerely, Luke Song. In his message, Luke said that he had learned a valuable lesson in respect and kindness, and he thanked Carla for being the one to teach him that lesson. And he also went on to admit that there is no excuse for that behavior. And honestly, while it's good to hear him acknowledge that, it's a shame that it took such a public fallout for him to come to that realization. I just want to take a moment to address one or two comments that were left on the previous video relating to this matter. One of the comments was actually deleted after I responded. I think the person probably had a change of heart. Fortunately, I had already taken a screenshot of it. I'm not going to show the person's name since the message was deleted. But I think it's very important for me to bring it up and for us to have these conversations openly. So the person says, if you're an influencer, you probably deserve it. And here's what I responded. I said, no one deserves to be publicly humiliated, influencer or not. Respect is basic. And being an influencer doesn't make someone less human or less deserving of dignity. So that was the first one. Like I said, the person deleted it. I really hope they had a change of heart, because it really doesn't matter if you're an influencer or not. No one should be treated that way. There was a second comment that was left on the video, very similar to this one, and I'm glad that people are sharing their own perspective. It's important for us to have these conversations so that we can address any issues. It says, I am honestly tired of influencers. That may be an unpopular opinion, not excusing the chef's behavior, but a lot of chefs aren't nice and yell at staff, especially if something isn't cleared with them ahead of time. While the chef was out of line, the host invited her. Did the host discuss this with the chef? I've seen plenty of times where the front of house neglected to tell the back of house something in advance and the chef lost their S. It's disrespectful to the chef, especially if they are also the owner. Is the host also a co-owner? Chef did apologize, perhaps not fast enough, but he did. And I responded to that saying, thanks for sharing your perspective. I totally get the influencer fatigue some people feel. And you're right, in high pressure kitchens, tensions can run high, especially when communication breaks down between front and back of house. But in this case, the issue wasn't just miscommunication, it was how the situation was handled in front of the guest. Publicly mocking her, playing her content out loud and questioning her worth based on her follower count wasn't just unprofessional, it was personal and humiliating. Even if the host didn't loop him in, which is possible, that still doesn't justify belittling someone who was invited in good faith. And yes, while the chef did issue an apology, it came after the video went viral. I'll be doing a video to address this, which is what I'm doing now. So while the chef may have responded eventually, the damage was already done. But here's the bigger point. The reason we're calling out this behavior isn't just because it happened to an influencer. It's because it happened to another human being. It's got nothing to do with the fact that she's an influencer. It happened to another human being. Today, it's a content creator, but tomorrow it could be someone with no platform, no followers, and no way to speak up. That kind of treatment should never be acceptable under any circumstance towards anyone, period. And this individual responded again. It was a pretty lengthy response. And it says, I am not disagreeing with the chef, and behavior was out of line and disrespectful, nor do I think it was justified in any manner. And I agree he should have apologized sooner. But let me take this further and perhaps express another unpopular opinion. I think there is value in looking at it from both sides. It is 100% possible the chef is a real jerk based on some of his own child's post and needed this lesson to grow. It's also possible that the chef had a meltdown because he's human and he reached his breaking point. Does that justify bad behavior? No, not at all. But I've been at that point myself. I wasn't justified either, and I apologize. Thankfully, I wasn't called out in social media in front of hundreds of thousands of people. I wasn't doxxed or cancelled. The same is true for people who have done the same to me. We are quick to play judge and jury for everything on social media. Should we at times? 1,000% yes, but is it always warranted? Where is the line? This is our environment with social media and influencers. I believe this could have and should have been handled offline. To which I responded, thank you for sharing this. I really appreciate the honesty in your response. You're absolutely right that people are humans and we all have breaking points. No one is perfect, and I respect your vulnerability in sharing your own experience. The difference is, as you said, most of us are fortunate enough not to have our worst moments play out in front of millions. That said, when harm happens publicly, especially when it involves someone being disrespected or humiliated, it's understandable that the response is also public because the impact wasn't just private. Carla was hurt in the moment, in public, and gave an honest review of her opinion on camera, and naturally the conversation around it became public too. I do agree with you. We should always strive to approach these situations with balance, not with a mob mentality. And yes, some things are better handled offline when possible. But in this case, it was the chef's very public actions that sparked a reaction, and the viral nature of it wasn't something Carla could control. I also think this entire moment shows us why accountability and empathy go hand in hand. We can acknowledge someone's breaking point and still hold them accountable for the harm caused. It doesn't have to be one or the other. And also, thank you for not keeping your opinions to yourself. It's so important that we hear different angles and have conversations like this, because there are others who may be thinking the same way you are. These discussions help us understand why this kind of behavior is wrong and why it has to be called out. That's how growth happens, not just for individuals, but for the entire culture around us. That's the purpose of this channel. And he responds, or she responds, thank you for your thoughtful response. I appreciate you. And I just thought, bless the individual. It's very important that we have these conversations. The truth of the matter is, it really doesn't matter if this was done to an influencer. We cannot treat people anyhow we want. We have to be mindful the way we treat people. Treat others as you would like them to treat you. What do you guys think of this whole situation? Do you think it was just blown out of proportion, or was it just the right response to this situation? Let me know in the comment section. Please like, comment, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Till next time, guys. Bye.